Welcome to NFL Live. We got breaking news out of Arizona. Adam Schefter, what do you got?
All right, Dan, moments ago, the Arizona Cardinals informed Kyler Murray that when the new league year begins, they intend to release him, barring a trade. He is guaranteed close to $37 million for this coming season, but he will be an unrestricted free agent. He can go where he wants. You could add Kyler Murray to the free agent pool. The Cardinals looked to find a trade partner in Indianapolis. There was not a team out there that was willing to make the deal. They informed him today that when the new league year begins next week, Kyler Murray will be released.
All right, big news here to start NFL Live. And a big addition to our crew today, Chase Daniel, making his NFL Live debut. Chase, we're going to throw you right in here. What do you think of Arizona's decision and Kyler's future?
Yeah, I love it. I think that this was going to happen eventually, right? That all signs were pointing to a release. But when you look at Kyler Murray and you really break down his tape, it's been really inconsistent, really year to year, game to game. There's been times, Graz and Shefty, that he's played like a top 5 quarterback, and he strings us along for 2 or 3 games, and all of a sudden it's the old Kyler Murray, right? And I think that when teams are looking at this, you got to look at it from a monetary perspective, is that they're going to get a really good deal, right? Because Kyler can go somewhere for the league minimum, which is about $1.3 million. The name and the team that comes to mind over and over again is the Minnesota Vikings, right? Kevin O'Connell, everything that they have, the stacked roster that they have, he is by far right now the best available free agent. He's the best available cut candidate, all these things, draftable guy. He would be my number 1 target really on any of these quarterback needy teams.
All right, we're going to have much more on this as the show goes along. This is big news of the day, but we knew there would be news today because just moments ago was the deadline for teams to designate franchise or transition tag players for this year. So, Adam Schefter, what's going on with the Colts and their big decision?
Dan, the Indianapolis Colts have put the transition tag on Daniel Jones. In the history of tags, the transition tag has been used on a quarterback only twice. The Atlanta Falcons once used it on Jeff George, and now today the Colts have placed the transition tag on Daniel Jones. And what the transition tag is it saves them $6 million. He's allowed to sign an offer sheet with another team. They retain the ability to match that offer. However, they cannot tag Alec Pierce, who they still are trying to re-sign. They want to keep Pierce in Indianapolis with Daniel Jones, keep them together. Now that Jones has the tag, Pierce is slated to hit the free agent market. We'll see if Indianapolis can get anything done with him in advance to prevent him from becoming a free agent. And the New York Jets placed their franchise tag on running back Breece Hall, who would have had interest on the open market and now will be in New York on that franchise tag. It was placed on him today, the non-exclusive franchise tag, for over $14 million. They had trade interest in Hall last year. Again, right now they've decided to place him on a franchise tag. They still would like to try to sign him to a long-term deal. One player who did get to market today, Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP. Not often you get to see a Super Bowl MVP get to free agency the very next year. It happened with Desmond Howard. It happened with Dexter Jackson. It's happened seldom, but Kenneth Walker now is poised to become a free agent when free agency begins next week, as is the Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. The long, contentious feud between those two sides is over. Trey Hendrickson's allowed to become a free agent next week. He will test the market. He will be one of the most sought-after defensive players on the board, and we'll see where Trey Hendrickson winds up, and it won't be in Cincinnati with the Bengals. He's now moving on after not being tagged today.
You know, Adam, former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo now has that job in Indianapolis, so I'm going to watch that spot for Trey Hendrickson. But the reason I bring that up, Chase, is because I want to go back to the Colts and the decision to put the transition tag on Daniel Jones and potentially let Alec Pierce get to free agency, although they still have a few days to work out a deal and prevent that. What do you make of what the Colts did today?
Well, I love it for the player and the team, Daniel Jones, right? You got to figure out where Pierce is going to go, but I imagine that they're going to try to get both of these guys. But when you look at Daniel Jones, right, the tape, especially when they started 8-3, it was really, really good. Obviously, the injury to the Achilles in week 14, I think this is about where Daniel Jones's average per year should land, right? He's a $37, $38 million a year guy, similar to Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield type of extension. The franchise tag value is a lot, right? You got to figure out what you're going to do with Alec Pierce, but I do like the fact that they are trying to keep the most important position in football there, and that's Daniel Jones, so I do like it.
Listen, the
Transition tag, somebody makes an offer sheet you don't want to match, you don't get any picks, so that's the risk the Colts now run. I want to pivot, Chase, to Alec Pierce, who now stands to be an unrestricted free agent. Monday is the start of the legal tampering period. Next Wednesday is the start of the league year. Colts have between now and then to try and do a deal to keep him off the market. Why do you believe it's so important for them to do that?
Well, the biggest reason is the fact that he can stretch the field vertically. Teams are in need of a wide receiver with the type of speed that Alec Pierce has. You look at his big play reel, and it is post, it is go. All these defenses nowadays, Graz and Schefter, they're playing these two-eye safety looks. So when you're in cover two, you can run the football, yes, but you still need a guy on the outside. He's so valuable for that. Him and Daniel Jones had a really good connection. This is a huge deal for the Colts to try and keep Alec Pierce with Daniel Jones because of the camaraderie that they have. He can stretch the field. He's their go-to guy.
Look, Dan, where have we seen before a team that was interested in trying to keep Daniel Jones and another offensive weapon in their fold? That was the New York Giants, and that was Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, a running back, a higher profile position than wide receiver in Indianapolis with Alec Pierce. But it's not altogether different. This team, Indianapolis, has two players it wants to keep. The Giants had two players they wanted to keep. They kept one. They kept Daniel Jones for a little while before moving on from him and lost Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. The Colts now are going to try to get long-term deals done with both players. There are no assurances that they will. And if you're Alec Pierce, why would you not take this to Monday and Tuesday to the tampering period and the negotiating period to where you would know exactly what a team like New England or Buffalo might be willing to offer? So we'll see how that plays out. Indianapolis is determined to get him back, but Alec Pierce right now is in a position of power.
Yeah, I'm sure all the Giants fans are watching. Appreciate you reminding them of how the Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley situation worked out a few years ago. Worked out well for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Not so much for the Giants. I do believe that having Daniel Jones in the fold for sure is a helper in terms of getting Alec Pierce, getting Alec Pierce to stay in Indianapolis. We had surprise news, Adam, out of Chicago today. What is it?
This was a stunner. The Chicago Bears Pro Bowl center, 27-year-old Drew Dahlman, informed the team that he now plans to retire from the NFL. Played at Stanford, very smart. Does that sound familiar? Drew Dahlman's father played in the NFL. He's seen the effects that the game can have up close and personal, and after a certain amount of time, he just decided, after playing 4 years in Atlanta and in Chicago, that he's had enough playing football. Remember, he was one of Chicago's big free agent additions last offseason, along with Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson, to fortify the Bears' offensive line. Now, the Bears have a gaping hole at center. They lose their Pro Bowl center. Ben Johnson's used to this in Detroit. The Lions lost Frank Ragnow to retirement. Now the Bears have lost Drew Dahlman to retirement. Not a simple spot to consider or to be in, considering that their left tackle spot and their left tackle Ozzie Trujillo ruptured his patella tendon in the playoffs. So they are down some offensive linemen and need to find some upgrades in Chicago on a unit they upgraded last year.
Chase, you played quarterback. I've always thought that the center-quarterback relationship is one of the closest and most unique in all of sports. How big a deal is this loss for Caleb Williams?
Well, it's a huge deal. For one, he's the center, right? He's the guy who snaps you the football. But ultimately, at the line of scrimmage, when you watch the film and you really break it down, Drew Dahlman was calling all the protections, whether it's the run game protection, whether it's the pass game protection. And it was really key in Caleb Williams' development. When Schefter, tweeted this out, I was in awe. I was completely flabbergasted and surprised because, when you are a quarterback, you'll have a certain comfort level with certain centers, how they see things, what we should go to, how they call. It just puts a little bit more on Caleb Williams' plate. They're without a Pro Bowl type guy too. He's the leader of the big uglies up front, man. This is a massive, massive loss.
Bears join the ranks of the teams out there looking for interior offensive line help this offseason. Could be a really good year to be a free agent guard or center. We are just getting started on NFL Live. Bree